Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Alex from DJ Cutt Entertainment, and today I'm gonna talk about the Behringer XAR series of mixers, how we use these at an event. So I'm gonna create a series of a couple of videos of how we incorporate this into our weddings, events, and school dances, why I think you need one of these with a DJ controller. So this video is really geared towards DJs and how I would set this up for a DJ and how you might use these for an event. So I'm gonna cover using it for a ceremony and then also using it for a reception, and then also using it if you have to incorporate people playing live music. So how they can incorporate it if they're using microphones, and different ways to set this up depending on what you guys got going on. So the very first thing that I want to cover is when you get to an event, setting this up, some of the different key features that we have. So if you look over here, you'll notice that the first thing that you want to check is these power lights. You want to make sure that this orange light is on first. This indicates that the mixer itself does have power. From there, you want to check out this. You want to make sure that you have a flashing light here. And what this is doing is this is getting signal from our wireless router. So we have a wireless router that is mounted in the back of this setup. All our mixers, or most of them should, if you guys can see this, we have the router label here. So what the name of it is, and then also the password too as well. So that way when you're connecting your tablet, you know exactly which one to connect to when you get to a venue. Also, a lot of times what I'll do is I will rename the mixer with whatever wireless router we want to be connecting to, because a lot of times I'll have this set up at a ceremony site and then also a reception, and you want to make sure that you're connecting to the right mixer. So now we're going to go in and I'm going to show you how to connect this. All right, so the very first thing you want to do when you have your mixer is you're going to want to go to settings, you're going to want to go to Wi-Fi, and then you want to make sure that you can connect to this router. And these routers that I have one that has 2G and 5G. Depending on the different venue, 5G is going to give you a quicker response time as far as like the meter and the RTA readout, but sometimes we can't really connect to it depending on the congestion at the different venues. So I'll switch in between a 2.4 signal and a 5G signal. Now I've been to a venue before where I've had both of them give me issues, and then I'll show you later on how we hardwire into this if we need to from a computer, but either the 2G or 5G should work. So right now I'm plugged into the 2.4G. So we want to connect to that first. And the next thing we want to do is we want to go open up the mixer. I will disconnect here, connect, yes. Yeah, so the very first thing that you want to do is you'll be presented with a screen like this, and you're going to want to search. This is a different mixer. All my other mixers, I suggest buying the Pro account. So you're going to want to search. It's going to pop it up. It's going to have the name of the mixer, and you're going to want to connect to it. Now, getting to a new event, depending on how familiar you are with the situation, the very first thing that you want to do is you want to go to setup, and then you want to go to initialize. And what this is going to do is it is going to set the mixer back to the default settings. So when I'm working with other people's mixers, or I get on a new mixer, I don't know what's been done, I don't know effects or what they've done in there, I like to start off with a basis so that way I know what's on there. Now, the very first thing that you're going to see is hard mute, DCAs, and mute when power off. So I leave these all off because I want to just be able to touch to mute. I don't want to have a hard press to be able to turn the mute on and off. And I would leave the mute off on power up. And what this does is, let's say you're DJing and the power goes out, and then when the mixer turns back on, everything is going to be muted. So you're going to have to wait for this to power on, then you're going to have to wait for the internet connection. And so that could take up to a minute. So when your power comes on, you're waiting like another minute just for everything to fire up. So that's why I leave those settings off. So then that way I can just power everything up and I don't have to worry about everything muted. When I power everything down, I usually bring all the volumes down anyways. So this is to prevent any, pops and squeaks or anything happening from the volume being up. So just be mindful depending on what direction you guys go there. Then over here we have the network, and this is where I suggest changing the name. So that way you can see what the mixer and changing the name of that is. So I'll go here and I'm going to call this FP link. And then on this one is going to be 0A2C. So then that way, when I power it up, if I'm connected to this Wi-Fi router, I know that the mixer is going to have the correct name. Push apply, boom. And now when we go here, a lot of times if it's not responding, so sometimes this will freeze, I'll just disconnect, search again, and then you'll be able to connect to it. Boom, there you go. Now, the very first thing that I like to do is set up my layers, and I'm gonna show you how to do that.